can click your little button down the middle of the Zoom window right there.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I thought.
And you know where it comes up afterwards, right? It comes up as Zoom_0.mp4. Yeah.
Yes, on the cloud and what have you. Yeah, so I wanted to record and sort of going through the process to start casting the vision with a lot of big plans coming together, Paul. So I think I mentioned on our chat that networking video conference that we had from the event. I mentioned that we're building a social enterprise focused on innovation. So since we spoke, I've spent a lot of time speaking to some colleagues and partnerships over in the US, and we're eventually going to build it onto a blockchain ecosystem, all the token and economy systems to make sure that that's out of anyone's sort of central control, and we can share the resources in a very good way. Sort of the partnerships over there have built the chassis, and I've been working on sort of the use case and the wrappers around that with the knowledge business, collaborative masterminds feeding into like a think tank to support entrepreneurs, and then crowd fund and crowd source in terms of staff and demand, the building of businesses in a way where they're building healthy relationships with the right contributions being rewarded for equity ownership in projects up until there's that point of money coming in when it's gone from an idea to prototype, MVP, ready to go into the market and go to the next stage. So within all of the ecosystem, we want to have a revenue sharing system aligned with the SDGs. There will be, I think, initial point as we leverage your platform for existing projects that are within there. But then we want to also facilitate some of our own. Affordable housing projects is definitely the focus for myself in terms of 3D printing homes and setting up the right grassroots incubators to flow into this economy as well, Paul. So, I just thought if you could, I could share the screen and show a little bit more to give you some more context.
Sure,
but I just wanted to let you know beforehand that we've also got a placement, a philanthropy placement that's going into a non-for-profit, which is going to control a lot of those resources that need to be outside of an individual's hands, so we can properly indoctrinate and encourage that innovation in the right way. So just be prepared, Paul. I won't go into all the details because there is a lot of moving parts.
It sounds like there are too.
Sorry, mate. My computer last night decided to do a reset or an update on me, so this is not loaded.
Funny how they do that sometimes, right?
They've changed it recently with Microsoft. It's like you don't have an option. They just go ahead and do it. It's just a bit slow, I think, because of Zoom as well, Paul. So what we're starting is from a foundation, and I'll be wanting to build some processes into, as I said, the B1G1 platform as a starting point for people going through this particular process. So we have what we're calling the consultant sales machine, but it's really a mechanism to build this sort of client journey and marketing automation, which is specifically built for the knowledge business. So, courses, coaching, mastermind groups. So that our goal is to actually build that into the front end of our own LMS platform. And the LMS is the starting point for a front end platform for everything else. So I won't go right into the details, but there is a full agenda here which leverages existing technologies in the marketplace, and it won't be too long for that to get going, Paul. Like I say, existing things like Kajabi, other, Infusionsoft for the automation, and just existing technologies to deliver that result to the people that want to benefit from that. Now, we're actually providing that service as a focus point to a group that you may have heard around the traps before, because they're very impact driven and change makers, improving the world through innovation. And that's a group called OpenXO. If you haven't heard of it, you can have a look at the community, and I can provide some alignment there for you, Paul, where I think they'd be very interested in working with you guys as well. But they basically train up consultants to provide innovation assistance to businesses, leveraging the main methodologies and systems here to build an exponential organization that's leveraging all the converging exponential technologies.
Got it.
So in brief, what I saw was an opportunity between the knowledge business and self-education, and the hard point I found and what I come to realize is all these people are definitely interested in what's in it for them, but then also what's in it past them as well. It's an underlying thing in people's methodologies and mindset. So we found a happy medium where we can benefit them individually, but they can be brought into a collaborative community where we're about to start our masterminds and build expertise in these different areas to support an incubator. First of all, that's becoming like a think tank for ideas, but then it's also the support mechanisms as an incubator for advisors, and there's different technologies that associate with these different attributes that, in terms of building an idea into reality, obviously those particular people are going to be able to help with that. So there's all these categorization systems that will be able to build out. And also at the same time, our people that are contributing to the consultant sales machine infrastructure to build into the front end of our platform that we're going to build, right? That then gets duplicated to it's all about inclusive opportunities with the abundance that's available. So if you think about any coach or anyone in any industry that, wants to build their character on a personal level, which they have to do that in terms of moving forward and to be able to actually run a company, they've got to be of sound character and have, you know what I mean, Paul? I'm sure you've seen plenty of people that shouldn't be running companies, long story short. So we have that platform that will get built and attaches to ultimately the incubator itself, like I mentioned, and that attaches to the non-for-profit. And again, there's a website you can have a look at called smartfounders.io that links in with the non-for-profit economy that's going to be built on a blockchain. So it's decentralized, and again, there's transparency with how money is allocated. There's all reward systems built into the community, and there's reward systems that will be built into those previous things that I've just showed you with the service offerings, where you can see on this board, long story short, that everything ends up feeding into impact. All right. So there'll be mechanisms where the resources and revenues, particularly revenues, is allocated towards having people have more purpose behind what they're doing. And this all stemmed from me, Paul, from what I saw happening with technologies and the potentials of job loss, and what's going to give more purpose if they've got sort of automatic revenue streams from some of the things that are happening. And like the main epiphany for me was around AI, DAOs and e-commerce. And I won't go into it because it will be too much information today, but there's a lot of automatic wealth that can be created from these technologies that are available to us today. So we want to allocate a lot of that to the purpose, but then what we also want to build is a scholarship type of program based on a particular process to help people go through, improve their character, and get to a point where they can contribute back to creating an idea that's going to be supported by the whole community. And they don't have to be a full CEO, because all they need to have is an idea if they can ask the right questions and be supported by the network that we're building. So yeah, we've got the two components coming together. This fintech is about to go live, and I'd like to probably allocate a lot of that money that's sort of more of a database builder to crowdfund ideas. So we're eliminating the need for an entrepreneur to go through venture capital as well. So they've got knowledge, they've got all the resources they need to turn ideas into reality, long story short, and have healthy relationships in doing all that. And yeah, my last part is what I said before. I've been asking questions, and we'll build a mastermind around this. In our, I'd like to invite you into our Discord community, and probably the Blueprint one as well, so you can just in whatever time you've got, just get to understand it more. But we would definitely love to build projects around the world where it's in need, putting people into homes and having giving them the opportunity to contribute back to the community and benefit from that. So so that's the main thing that I've sort of allocated as, I suppose, my personal impact based.
You've been doing a lot of work.
Yeah, it's there's a lot there. And it's mapped out well now. There's a lot of relationships and people like you that I've spoken to in the past, like conversations like this, but it's now truly coming to the head with the other components. Like these were all the use case wrappers for the impact, but Brian Stratton from Blueprint, which is the non-for-profit out of Chicago, and we've now got a core team that's being built. We're about to do that raise and set up some SPAC funds, special purpose acquisition, for social enterprise, and again feed the economy and the resources back into optimize that innovation and give that opportunity to the people that necessarily haven't had it, Paul. So that's in brief, in 10 minutes, I suppose, the best as I can explain it.
Well, I mean, you could spend an entire day on that. So thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a lot of work gone in there, Dan. Yeah, well done.
Thank you, mate. So yeah, interested to hear your thoughts on integrations into your movement, and then how we can help other people contribute to that as well with the B1G1 platform, Paul.
Okay, what have you got sorted on that so far, Dan? Like
so
what's in your head
ultimately,
so far?
yeah. So ultimately, in my head, what's sorted is we can implement, like we're building a platform, so there'll be different mechanisms and within the token reward system, which we're mapping out now to combine that together. So our roadmap can be very clear, and our token economy and the whole system, what's sitting in the non-for-profit in terms of revenue and resources and how that gets dispersed. I'd love for you to consider potentially joining that board as well, because there is going to be a lot of resources, and you've obviously got a lot of information of different projects that have already been existent, and in terms of new ideas that can get created to end up on the platform as a cause to support. It would be ideal to have you really sitting on that chair, like sitting on the board of the non-for-profit to, it's a collaborative effort. No one person can decide where money needs to be allocated and whatnot. And we're building that on a blockchain environment with voting, so it's transparent, it's locked in stone, etc. From a starting point, it's really, we're about to subscribe to B1G1 to integrate that into the sales machine and the masterminds, because that's our stage one to start building the community. So we're using Discord as a platform at the moment, and we've got one of the attributes in building any community and business is engagement. So we've already got some reward systems that we can attach the impact to. It's just a matter of working out the reverse engineering of the budget that goes towards the impact, so we can fulfill on, the impacts that we promise, etc.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So no, that's great. I'm amazed how busy you've been. It's really cool.
It's been over a journey. Like I had an experience myself with a company that we built that stock market IP, and a lot of experience in the investment space and in the broking space. Didn't particularly like the way a lot of that operated, and a venture capital person came in and wasn't the best scenario. Let's just keep it at that. There's better opportunities for entrepreneurs. It's just been accumulation of life experience and epiphanies and ideas. There's also another platform which I'm a major shareholder in, which is called Visible Internet, which is going into schools currently to help curb the influence that the internet and technologies is having over children and make education a bit easier for schools. I'm sure teachers are really struggling, but there's some opportunities to integrate all this into a grassroots level into schools and help them have certainty around their life moving forward with, complete changes in industries and jobs. So I'm hopeful that we can bring Tony in on that as well and give kids a lot more certainty and purpose behind what, drive. I see what you've got and what the mechanism just with people's mentality. I know I'm guilty of it myself, where sometimes you'll do more for others than what you'll do for yourself, and it gives you more meaning and happiness. So if we can attach their progress and give them certainty on their path, we've got all the recipes to increase the chances of them becoming, first of all, a successful human being or a functional human being.
I think there's a great need there and a great opportunity too to do it correctly. So well done. Yeah. Well done.
So it'd be great just over time, and maybe just for the audience in sharing a little bit more at B1G1, if you could maybe wrap up now with a bit of an overview of your thoughts on all of that, how we could integrate and just what you're doing and the impact it's currently having. And then let's continue the conversation in terms of what with your bandwidth and everything that you've got going on, and with a bit more information delivered on the non-for-profit. If we can just get some guidance in terms of obviously deal with your team as well. I know you're not on the one usually providing that consultancy type of advice, but given that we're going pretty big with this, it would be great for you to consider sitting on a board and, potentially being a bit more involved than what you typically are, Paul.
When do you think all of that actually gets operational? The reason I'm asking for that is, or asking you that, is this next 6 months for me is like, whoa, it's very whoa. And that's partly, in fact, majorly because of some very detailed work in terms of 10xing B1G1. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
How can we help with you with that, by the way? How can anyone help you?
That's a great question, actually, and I'm not sure of the answer to that. I think that let's put it to you this way: the answer to that may become clearer at the end of January, because there's a lot of how shall I say it? There's some pretty interesting plans, but there's so many plans right now, and there's a limited scope in terms of the people that are going to actually implement on those plans. And so this next few weeks is really trying to sort that out.
Each on a 10x. Sorry.
Yeah. So no, please. It's okay. Yeah. So there's some really significant plans in terms of how should I put it? They're not sort of adding on to they kind of are adding on to B1G1, but as you would well know, sometimes what you have to do is kind of collapse that what you already know in order to build that which you don't know. If that makes sense.
100%.
And obviously you've been through that as well. So and there's some very interesting stuff going on about how you. I think here's the thing. One of the things that's very, very difficult to do is to kind of radically innovate if you've already got something. Do you know what I mean? It's like
what Salim Ismail refers to that to, Paul, from the OpenExo.
Does too.
It's the immune system to managers being comfortable or team members. So it definitely needs to be done on the side, that innovation. And there's some really good context that if you want some advisory around that, I can go and search, and if you tell me what you need to do it efficiently on the outside, and then integrate it into the core. Is it a lot of innovation and what have you? I'd be happy to make some introductions if that would help. Yeah.
Well, of course, what's going to happen with that is, funnily enough, there are some people on the Gold Coast that could well play a part in that, which would make it interesting just in terms of location. I mean, obviously, you know, we can Zoom around the world, but sometimes it does help to be in the same room. So that's going to be interesting. My suspicion is that all of that is going to, you know, we will have the kind of tightness of the diagram that you showed me, which you know, that is really great, by the way. Some great thinking obviously gone into that. So we will have that. My thought is that we will need to have that by the last week of January. And so maybe that would be a good time to connect at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
How in the meantime can I help you? How can I do that? How can I best serve you?
So to answer your question before on timings, we're actually actively talking to a lot of different organisations around a philanthropy funding, 5 million going into the non-for-profit to support a few initiatives, one being the unified purpose, which is going to feed a good portion of revenue back into that, so it's secured. And you know, it's one of the things I realised I didn't want to be in control of all this money and opportunity pool. You might see me going crazy on a yacht and doing all sorts of weird things. So we're doing that placement now and bringing together the consolidation of those use case wrappers I've showed you, and that planning with 20 years on the other side, or this combined experience with a lady, Aaliyah, that's got a project for a pay-it-forward type system. That, see, the knowledge business and the masterminds can generate a lot of revenue that,
totally.
You know, and the sales funnels and the automation stuff that we're doing. So pretty much if you could get involved with whatever conversations, and we can cross-collateralize some of that, you know, you've obviously got team members and people working on that change, but you know, I don't know whether blockchain is part of ththose plans, but I think it's a really great thing that you guys would, you know, probably talked about for that transparency, with people being comfortable in those disbursements, knowing it goes direct to, and other voting mechanisms, I suppose, with even on the event, you know, for example, where, you know, the counting things on the Zoom, which I've reached out to the Massima to work out, you know, where people can go on and just vote with blockchain, what impacts that they wanted that money to go towards.
So have you been speaking with Masami about that, have you?
I've reached out last night when I booked our call today. Yeah. So I'm keen to learn more about that, because we can apply that to the Discord community, and that can be part of our training for other people that we bring in, because that's our central platform for now. So we're not reliant on Facebook, LinkedIn, or any other social platform. We've got Discord groups that I'll invite you to, that attaches to the reward systems there, and in a platform that's existent. So
are you talking with Masami later today, Dan? Or
I haven't heard back from Masami from the email that I sent as yet. I don't know whether Masami's on holiday still or what have you. So
no. She's fully functioning.
Yeah.
And she's usually really good with stuff like that. So in fact, she always is very good with stuff like that. So I'm not sure why that hasn't happened. But anyway, I'll have a conversation with her.
That's all right. It was late last night, so I'll probably
get Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
So it'd be great to maybe introduce you to Brian, who, you know, we've decided as two visionaries to come together. You know, there's a perfect alignment with those plans that I showed you, and you'll see with his Miro board, there's a lot more as well on the economics and philosophy, and great contacts he's bringing together. And he's a developer and experienced with blockchain. So, and he does rapid prototyping as well through a blueprint consulting process. So, you know, if we can just we've got a barter type system that we're working on. So potentially even just as a barter, you can help initially provide us some advisory around the economic models and stuff that we're connecting, and we can look at what you're doing and just provide our advice around the innovation and ideas around blockchain for you to take it or leave it. I'm sure you'll get some gold nuggets and some help out of it. And I think that would be the best way that we can start, is just to barter on how can we help each other for now.
Okay. So what are you saying? We should set that up towards the end of January, or what?
Well, if you're putting those plans together, and given what we're doing, it would be probably good over the next, just over the next week, if we could schedule a call, yourself, Brian, to myself. We'd probably need an hour to go through it all and give, half an hour each side. If you wanted to go first and explain the areas that you're able to publicly share, I suppose, or just with the two of us, we don't have to record that session and make it public, but we'll just have the conversation and understand some of the use cases and things you're wanting to achieve, and the metrics, like how are you looking to 10 times B1G1? Is it the amount of companies that are using it? Is it the amount of actual money that's raised in impact?
Yeah.
If we can help, we in the training system for the sales machine and masterminds, it will be clearly noted that we suggest that they tap into that impact and they don't recoup all the money just for themselves. So if we can help, we're going to be helping grow it anyway by other people outside of us. So we just focus on that. How do we align? And then Brian, I'm sure, will wow you with a lot of his economics and the work he's been doing as well.
I'm sure he will. Let me, I'm just looking at, just a second, I'm just looking, looking away. I'm just looking at calendars and stuff like that.
And if you know anyone in the philanthropy space, once you understand that, there's an opportunity for support and involvement with the impact deal flow as well that we're going to be indoctrinating for.
Yeah, there's also some really interesting people. In fact, yeah, there's a guy in New Zealand who's doing some pretty interesting stuff in the housing space as well. And he's already a great B1G1 member. And I was actually thinking that it would be good for me to put you in touch with him. I'm just looking here. Yeah. Actually, this week is pretty challenging, if not impossible. But next week, for example, next Friday, is a time that I could get together.
Is around this time of day okay for you? Because Brian's in Chicago.
Sure. Sure.
So the time that we scheduled for 9:30, or now, say 10 a.m., 8 a.m. your time? So 8 a.m.
Yeah. So what I'll do is let me send you. This should come up. Yeah. Let me see. So if you look at 9:10, that is 9:10, your time on Friday, that is Friday 15th. That would be, let's see what he's in Chicago. That'd be like, what would that be?
That'll be right. We're usually talking around.
Yeah, he'd be okay.
5
be late
o'clock
after, sorry, late.
Yeah. Be 5 o'clock for him. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, so if you can.
So why don't you look at that and sort it out with Brian, and then send me a link, and as in a calendar link, and I'll click on.
Yeah, so I'll put that on for what, 50 minutes, or is an hour okay?
Yeah, 50 minutes is good. Yeah. Now, so what I do, I normally have 50 minutes, and then I have 50
10 minutes
or 20.
spell.
Yeah, then I can overrun if necessary.
So just for the purpose of our team and Brian and our movement, but also anyone else out there, just as a high level, without going into details, how in terms of 10 timesing and the growth that you're looking to achieve, is that through the amount of companies that you have utilizing, subscribing to the service and having that impact, or is it volume?
Oh, it's across multiples. Yeah, it's across particular multiples. I'll show you a diagram when we get together. So it's not necessarily 10xing everything. It's like 6xing some things, 3xing others, and the overall effect is a 10xing, as you'll see.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, hey, thanks so much for your time, Paul. I'm looking forward to spending more time speaking with you.
Well done. Well done. I love the certainty that you're creating, and looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Likewise, Paul. Thank you very much, mate. Look forward to catching up. I'll send that invite, and we'll probably send you something on email in the meantime as well.
That'd be great. Okay. Thanks.
Thanks so
much, Dan. Make it a great.
Oh,
by the way, I was trying to find unip.io, and for some reason I couldn't find it. Do you know why that is?
I think I've got all these different hats that I've been wearing, Paul, which I'm starting to learn to. It's, I think, just a simple thing that needs to be done on the domain names. But if you put the www.unip.io, that will pop up. Yeah, there's
got it.
There's some older videos and whatnot. I just haven't bothered updating because I've done the updating about 10 different times and with different pivots and changes.
It's tough to keep track of it, isn't it?
But no, it's now, I just want to, what I've been looking forward to doing is having this real certainty with the stages, and then doing it once and leaving it for at least a good time period where it's very succinct and where it needs to be. So there's some older videos there and what have you, but yeah, probably by the time we talk next, it will all be updated. And the other websites as well, which I can just put on the chat. There's the blueprint.
No, I've got it. Yeah, I've got it there now, by the way, so that's good.
And there's Smart Founders, which is, there's some mechanisms of the fair equity disbursements from contributions and people's attention to different projects and ideas. And some of that's in the overarching economy models for the bigger picture, the non-for-profit as well.
Okay, let me just grab something here. Okay, got it. Okay, Dan, that's great. Thank you so much. And I look forward to getting all of that stuff and to chatting with you, not the end of this week, but the end of next week. Yeah, got it. Yep. Okay, make it a great one.
Thanks so much, Paul. Appreciate it. Thanks, mate.
Thank you, and well done too.
Thank you, and likewise.
Okay. Bye.
Good.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Dan.